Tony Flexen here for Seconds Out with super middleweight prospect unbeaten Zak Chelli. Zak, how are you today?
Not too bad, feel great. I'm looking forward to this press conference.
In the press conference you mentioned, obviously we can see in the background is for the big Wembley Arena show. You're fighting for your first major pro title, Southern Area belt, against Jimmy Smith. I guess the first question to ask, although Smith's got a good record, is he, in your opinion, a step up from Umar Sadiq, who you so impressively beat last time?
Well, he does have a better record, 8 fights, 7 wins. He's a durable opponent, but honestly, I'm sure people know Umar Sadiq was the better boxer, is a better boxer, but I don't know what Jimmy Smith has to offer yet. I mean, I've seen little clips of him. You never know, he could improve, so we'll just have to wait and see.
It's obviously scheduled for 10 rounds as well, so maybe the opponent's less of a challenge, but going the distance, pacing yourself will be more of a challenge.
Yeah, I'm going to be training hard. I'm training for 10 rounds, even though I don't believe it will go 10 rounds, but I'm training for 10 rounds, you never know.
What did you learn from the last fight with Sadiq, not just in terms of in the ring, but the whole occasion? Because it was built up quite heavily, hyped up.
I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the rivalry with him. I didn't expect it. You know, I thought it would be, because usually I'm just shake the hand and go in the ring and fight, but this was before the ring, so I did enjoy it. It was pretty fun, and I learned how to speak to my opponents and how these things don't affect me.
Did it also teach you in a way, because Sadiq was very confident going in, obviously he ended up with a little bit of egg on his face after the result. Did that make you, I mean you're a humble guy anyway, but did that make you think, right, I need to kind of calm down generally and not kind of raise expectations too highly?
No, even after the fight, I never said nothing bad about Sadiq. Even before the fight, I never said nothing bad about him. I just kept it the same. I knew if he would have won that fight, he probably would have opened up a lot more. But you know what? Everyone needs a bit of humble pie, so yeah.
And is that kind of added motivation for you as well when you've got an opponent like that who talks the talk and you think, I'm going to make him look stupid now?
Yeah, it does. Him speaking actually made me want to beat him up even more, so it was his loss in the end.
The whole kind of narrative that a lot of people took on in the build-up to that fight was that he was this kind of slick boxer, he'd nearly gone to the Olympics, whereas you were more all about strength and you'd fade late in the fight. Did you resent that a little bit? Because you were a good amateur in your own right, you just didn't really do much as a senior because you didn't stay a senior for long, but you were a very good junior amateur.
I was a good junior amateur, GB youth champion, so which is pretty good, trained with the GB boxers as well. And I think he overlooked that. He just saw me as a power, a 19-year-old kid who goes in the ring and beats people up. And I was happy with that. I was thinking, if he thinks that in the night, he's going to be surprised, which came to my advantage as well.
Yeah, because you boxed well in the fight, you set up your shots really well, and I think that probably did surprise him and people watching as well. What can we see, do you think, in the Jimmy Smith fight that we haven't seen from you so far?
In this fight, I like to show more skill. I don't just want to go in there and finish the fight off. I like to show more skill, more movement, more technical stuff, and for people to believe that I'm a prospect for the future.
As we talked about, you were a very good junior amateur. You were obviously at the Times ABC, where I used to train actually for a couple of years, not to much success obviously, but what made you turn over so young? Why didn't you stay amateur, get a bit more international experience, for example, before turning over?
Well, I did enter the senior ABAs, and my belief with amateurs is a lot of robbery. There's some winners, there should be winners and they're not, and I don't know, there's a lot of favoritism, and I was like, I had enough of this, I want to turn pro. And it was my dream as a kid to turn pro. Amateur, there wasn't that much ambition. But as a pro now, I have like so much passion to be a world champion.
And what's the path for you? This is obviously first major belt, Southern Area. Where do you see yourself by the end of the year, for example?
Well, you know what, I see the Midland title's been fought for this month, and also the Central Area title has been fought for this month, so you never know, in the Southern Area, so whoever can fight for the English title in the end, and that'll be a nice title as well. Also, I see the Commonwealth title on this show, so that looks like a nice title, which I'd like to have.
What do you think of those guys fighting for the Commonwealth title? You've obviously got Lerone Richards, Tommy Langford, who's fought for an interim world title at the weight below, moving up. Kind of quite a tough one to call.
Yeah, I think they're both boxers. They're not. None of them are both punchers. They're both boxers and both got good records. So it'll be an interesting fight to see. I think it'll go the distance though.
Sitting on the fence there, you're not going to pick a winner?
Lerone Richards, he's more on the weight. So yeah.
Tell us about some of the guys you've sparred so far as a pro, and even back in your amateur days, pros that you sparred them, because we don't know that much about you in that sense.
My first ever pro spar was against Darryl Williams. Darryl Williams, and at the time he was Southern Area champion, and I was 17 years old, and I did very good with him, and I was like, hey, if I'm doing this good with a Southern Area champion, I might as well turn pro, and that's literally took the step to turn pro. After that, I sparred with Eubank, and then James DeGALE and George Groves, and the 3 world champions at the time they were. And I saw my level, I was thinking, you know what, this is possible, I could become a world champion if I'm doing this good at this age. Imagine me 5 years down the line.
Who did you feel was the best of those 3, and who did you learn the most from sparring against?
I sparred the most with George Groves, and he was the friendliest out of all of them. The rudest one was DeGALE. I don't know, he'd swear while sparring. And Eubank, was just quiet, keeping to himself, just a bit arrogant. But yeah, Groves was a nice guy, you know, sparring with him, learnt most off him, and done the most rounds with him.
In what way was DeGALE rude, I have to ask?
During sparring he would swear, so he'd be like, is that what you got, you? And then, come on, you're only doing 2 rounds with me, come on, give it to me, and start swearing at me, which I was surprised.
Not something you'd experienced before.
I guess he just wants to round up his opponents. So, yeah.
Well, he's out of the game now, so you won't have to cope with any more sparring partners swearing at you while you're trying to hit him, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really faze me. I just laughed a bit, that was it.
And just before we let you go, for people out there that either don't know too much about you or do and want to follow you a bit more, how can they engage with you on social media? What are your handles?
Twitter, Zak Chelli, Facebook, Zak Chelli, and Instagram, Zak Chelli. So yeah, everything's Zak Chelli.
How am I ever going to remember those? Yeah, all right, brilliant. Well, we wish you the very best against Jimmy Smith, and we look forward to watching your career with interest.
I appreciate it.
Cheers, Zak.